Welcome to the MF Show, your pit stop for celebrity interviews. I'm Rich Waitas.
And I'm Jerry Zaiden. We're going to talk about hot car topics and everywhere the automotive industry takes us.
Today we have a guest that you probably heard his voice somewhere or another. He's known as the voice of Formula D. A numerous amount of podcasts out there. If you've had a chance to listen to the new Send It podcast, pretty awesome. He also does a lot of history and things with AAA and giving people an idea of where to take their cars on an official basis. So car performance all the way up to just how to get in your car and have fun. Jorod DeAnda, thanks for being our guest today.
Dude, thank you. It's fun to hear my brief little Wikipedia explanation. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm here so I don't get fined. Thank you guys for having me. What an amazing facility. The MF show, I get it. The double entendre, triple entendre, I don't know. I'll minimize my MFs. I speak professionally. My mom thinks I do a good job, and so does my wife. My kids barely. But thanks for having me, man. What a cool facility. I grew up in San Diego. Coming here, you just walking through the handrails, the bent handrails, like that's a dope touch. You're like showcase. Look, you could touch the MagnaFlow product.
It's a family business with a lot of investment into kind of the culture of what we do. Yeah. And it's through and through. So wherever it is, from the handrails up to the second floor or to the people on the floor, it's that pride.
And then obviously Camberg coming on and Jerry kind of commandeering it, taking the reins on what's going on with MF and the Camberg and that whole family. What is the umbrella company called? Like, is there like an umbrella or is it just Camberg MagnaFlow?
Yeah,
what is it?
MF Group.
MF Group.
Yeah, so we have, different components of the company from Camberg and BRE and the catalytic converter,
the emission side.
Yeah. Because like a lot of people don't see that, and that's the whole thing. Is like, again, just got my truck hooked up. I've been running the same exhaust for 10 years. You sent me one 10 years ago. Now I did a glow up my truck. So you guys have modified, no pun intended, and adapted to the market as MagnaFlow. Camberg, it's like I was talking to somebody about cell phone cases, and being a relevant case, you need to modify and adapt to the current devices. Not saying any manufacturer, but you need to just kind of adapt to all of them. You guys have done a good job. So obviously Camberg Racing being relevant, being intentional about the product from the different range, from entry level to full on Baja. And then obviously MagnaFlow, Rich, and what you're doing, and even adapting with EVs. You look at something like the Slate recently that came out, 20 grand, American built. Like, how do you adapt with that? And then stuff like that. Yes, I just talk for a living, but I'm a constant consumer, and I ingest and just poop out some ideas.
Yeah, what's pretty crazy is, looking at manufacturing at MagnaFlow, which is like state of the art with assembly line style conveyors and robotics.
Yeah.
The tools we would dream of having, like fiber lasers. Like here at MagnaFlow, fiber lasers is just one of those tools that's out in the back cutting flanges. And we're like, well, we could use that to cut out the unlimited trucks, like the parts we make. And so, it's cool to see, like, now we have a laser, which Camberg's never been like, we own a laser. Crippa benders, these guys that have the top of the line tubing benders. How many Crippa benders do we have?
Well, it's our primary online. So an Italian company buying another Italian company product that brings us up to speed for CNC. It's they're pretty much the going state of the art for tube bending.
Yeah, but how many of them do we have?
So there's 3 online.
So we have 3 of them, which, they're big dollar machines. But you talk about precision bending. Yeah, it's bending perfectly over and over and over again. So
it's amazing.
That's why we've sent out for some of our production parts, not all of them, but now all of them are on that, right? So it's so cool to watch that. And then on the Camberg side, with the hand fabrication and the hand building and just the art and jewelry we're making, that's like fallen to the MagnaFlow side now. So it's cool in the meetings when they're like, the Camberg way, like the Pologna.
That's the unit of measure.
Yeah.
The Camberg way.
It's like a term now, and it's really flattering and cool to hear because, Jason Campbell and I, when we started Camberg, it was all about handmade, American made, just badassery. And that's shining into the MagnaFlow product now, and they've already been making X-Mod, but just like, hey, those welds, we could do this to them, and they're hearing it, and the guys hand welding in the back. And it's just fun to watch it all work together and come to life. And then these new products we're making with off-road racing shocks and brake calipers that we're winning on. You're going to see a lot more coming out of MagnaFlow Group.
Cool. That's good. I'm here for it. And again, just being, adapting to the market, seeing what the consumers want, and the test bed is the desert for Camberg. Test bed is shoot, soccer moms. You know what I mean? It's the whole
Wheels and motors.
Wheels and motors. But
Yeah.
Again, thank you for having me. Super humble. Just cool to have a conversation with two, spearheads, knuckleheads in the industry, and just moving the needle. And that's what we're doing, talking the RPM needle. And it's just fun to see where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. And that's what I feel like is cool. Yeah,
it's definitely super fun watching, because I feel like the industry right now is taking a big shift, right? So like the old hot rod stuff and like, what our dads were into. I was just at the Long Beach Grand Prix and I was like, you know what? What's the modern day hot rod now? Right. So that's a question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
But like I was in that parking lot looking at all the cars and I'm like, it's very interesting because there's hundreds of cars in this parking lot. So what to use like the modern day hot rod?
Modern day hot rod. Well, you ask my 11-year-old, he's like R34 Skyline, right? Like that's, I would say like JDM right-hand drive cars and really nice watches. If you want to attract more dudes, just get yourself a really cool watch and an R34 Skyline and you'll just get like moths to a flame. But I would say, again, depending on your lineage, what you grew up with. Look at just the Porsche, like that whole like aspirational factor, and also even somebody like Larry Chen buying an old turbo 996, putting a GT3 front end on it, doing this, doing that. So hot rodding a Porsche. The term hot rod has always been clarified as far as American muscle and all those things, but hot rodding it now is you can hot rod a car in a video game.
Exactly.
So drift cars, obviously. I think that what's the search for higher education? What's the poster at Sharper Image?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where it's the cars in the garage.
The 80s poster, all like
was that Sharper Image next to the one globe that you could get the sparks in your fingers? You'd buy that poster with the little taillights lit up. That, I remember North County Fair Mall down the street. I worked there. I worked at Tinderbox and I worked at Things Remembered. Your boy engraved stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, that poster, that garage.
We are buying a laser etcher. Maybe he can.
Yeah. Keep it busy, I think.
The hot rods in that garage are constantly changing. I think that's what's beautiful about it. My dad had Porsches and BMWs when I was a kid. Didn't really think anything of it. Parents got divorced. I was a Honda kid, dude. I grew up street racing here in San Diego. It's whatever, dude. Can't catch me now. Try. I just got a ride over here from Saul from SOS in his Stagea wagon. We were talking about back in the day. I don't want to say good old day. I hate that term.
Yeah.
Make today a good old day. Today's a good old day.
Yes.
We'll look back on this and make today a good old day.
100%.
So those are the days that helped define my childhood. And, I was just a Honda kid and that's all I knew. And now they made the movie. That was before Fast and Furious. They made the movie Fast and Furious about what we were doing.
So what was your Honda back then?
EK Civic with the B18 fully caged fiber. It's all different iterations after many different accidents.
Yeah.
But an EK Civic, B18, Tanabe exhaust, and had 16s and went to 17s. That was big. Slammed, cut coils, different suspension coilovers. Could afford the cage, could shave the handles, couldn't afford the poppers. So your big old slice of meat had to go through the trunk and do military training to get into my seat because I couldn't afford the poppers. It barely rains here in San Diego. Jeez. And so I rolled. Anyways,
that's
bad. It's so dancing and flirting with your question about a hot rod. I think a hot rod is whatever you feel is your canvas to customize.
Yeah.
That's the real big blanket statement.
It's a term that's been redefined as people kind of move through it, because we're only 3 generations away from where the inception of hot rodding was.
Yeah.
But it's just car tinkerers, right?
Yeah.
It's the people that just decided that, I can't afford that part, so I'm going to the junkyard. We don't have junkyards anymore. So cars don't, they're not steel, they're plastic. So it takes a lot more time to find the parts you need. But it's the motivator has always been, I want something that's mine. And I want something that's affordable. So I certainly am not buying premium. I'm going to go dig it up and make it work. And then we go through our life and we find the opportunities to make some money and actually go put the cool parts we always had. And we're at that stage now. Is that the Skyline's 25 years? R34s are 25 years now?
Yeah, R34 is 25. Yeah,
so they're legal to import.
Yeah.
And guess what we see everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah. Like you said, the new hot rod.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody like TJ Hunt, I really admire because I've seen him grow up, right? I mean, he could literally be my son. I mean, we're grown mass men, and like I said, dying every day. But TJ's done a really good job of his growth pattern. He had people that were kind of scrutinizing. I don't want to say hating, but scrutinizing the way he does things. Well, he's developing. He started with this BRZ and then developed, and now he's building these full-on M4 custom one-off, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's hot rodding, dude. And I love that because he has an aspiration to do that. And it's the paperclip thing. Hey, I'll trade you this paperclip for that pen. Okay, that pen for that cup, that cup for that, and just leveled up. And that's what I love to see. I got popcorn, dude. Again, literally, I'm just the announcer, and I'm just seeing it. I'm seeing in the drift space, I've announced score races, Baja 1000, San Felipe, Placer City. Like, I've announced different things in the desert and on the asphalt, and I'm here for it. Like, I love it. I'm a consummate fan of just seeing people and their craft constantly develop, and from a business standpoint or from a personal standpoint. So seeing people's hot rods develop, and even me, like, I finally got my truck done. Thank you. Got Camberg's on there. I have an old MagnaFlow that we're going to put a new one on. And obviously you want the biggest tip possible to promote it, to say MagnaFlow, but I'm thinking something of line that would give it the respect it deserves. But I'm a fan of this, and absolutely humbled to be part and to monetize my passion. That is absolutely, as they would say, winning.
That's what I think is really cool about this automotive industry, right? And that's kind of our tagline when we start the show, like where it takes us. But basically how everyone could be from a JDM background or a real legit, call it the hot rod background, like what you assume that is, right? The resto
American muscle, resto mod,
and then the off-road guys, and like everyone respects kind of what everyone does now. I feel like I see a lot of like people checking out. There's a lot of talent out there. Yeah. Right. And you see what these guys are thinking up in drift cars of like how to steer more and not have the bump steer. Like they're coming up with wacky geometry to get that car to do what it needs to do, where the off-road guys are doing what they need to do. And then the resto mod guys are doing what they need to do with kind of mixing in the strength to hold the horsepower, but still get the angles and the handling. Right. So it's really fun from that aspect. So now you have a truck. It's Tundra.
Yep.
What car do you have? Do you have a car?
No cars. I literally just have my 2015 Toyota Tundra. That's my old faithful. I was going to get a Bronco. I worked with Ford, and they're great. They didn't want to offer me a deal because the Broncos were hard to get. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm just going to keep my truck. My wife's got an X6. Son's got a Corolla. I have a Super 73 and a 1960s golf cart. That's nice. That's my MO, dude. Like, and I'm kind of just, again, enjoy it from a distance. And I golf a lot. I travel a lot. I'm on the NAs right now. That's the first time I'm saying it public. So I haven't had a full-on beer since New Year's. So I'm just kind of chilling on that front. And I always say, like, I drink and I travel. That's what I do. That's my fun. But I golf a lot, and I love that. But, again, just I let all my friends I live vicariously through them. If it is, again, TJ, and then people that aren't sponsored by MagnaFlow, if it's all my drift friends, Chris Forsberg, Vaughn Gittin Jr., all the drifters, what they're doing, the diversity of their builds is so sick. FD and professional drifting is a platform, and now they're just taking it to a different level. I mean, I would say Vaughn Gittin Jr. is the Carroll Shelby of our generation. I mean, what he's doing and how he's doing it is very admirable. And he's like, hey, friends, like, that's his MO. And that's how he wants to be. That's how he wants to do. Forsberg, Nissan has never had a name on a vehicle. Let's get this clear. It's been Nismo Edition or Nissan Motorsports or, look, Nissan has had a lineage of Stillen and all these iconic names, right? Like
associated with
the Datsun, right? Like, never. The first ever Nissan name is a Forsberg Edition Nissan Frontier.
Yeah.
What does that tell you, bro? Like, he's a 3-time Formula Drift champion. He's been competing since 2004. Drifting, bro, hanging hot on that. So I'm really proud of drifting, but all of it's not lost on me. Again, if it's SEMA show, you walk that show floor, anybody that goes, they're like, wow. And then you start like getting numb to it. And then you're like, every vehicle has blood, sweat, and tears. And that's just a real good petri dish of emotion. Yeah. Blood, sweat, tears, gears, and beers, and I see that a lot. And that's what's the beauty of social media. You can see it. Dude, I just saw that thing. Elaborate more on that. I love that. Tell me more about, if it's overlanding for you. I know that's like a special place in your heart, and off-roading, the function is the fashion. That's what I love about what you do. And some people are like, okay, that's exorbitant. Like, that you're never going to use that. It's like an iPhone. You only use 50% of the technology.
I like how you said that, right? Because we have that conversation a lot of like, why the product looks like that. And you could always see the guys knocking off product because they go, look what it looks like, but they don't understand the function. Mm-hmm. And Jeff Herman and I were talking about that the other day, and like kind of like how the product winds up looking like it does, where people have, these industrial designers designing things and making things look cool. And I'm like, like when you make really good product, it winds up looking really cool because that's why it works well. That's the whole point, right? Yep. And, there's these times that, the cambered product, people are always like, man, that just looks so badass. But we're like, well, it's just because it's what it is. Like, I mean, Jason Campbell has a style thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's also like from the engineering background of like why it's strong and why it's getting the travel and why the things are, curved around the other metal is because when you steer and bump and droop and have to not crash like the part touching each other, right? That's why it looks like that. And then, you get into everyone's building billet upper A arms now, but they don't understand those pockets, like why they're where they're at for strength and lightening the product, right?
You're talking about something like this, right? Like ID construction, why you remove that for weight, but then there's also structural rigidity. I mean, look, a Ford F-100 had the I-beam construction. They put it on the badging, right?
Correct.
So you look at something like that. And this, like, why are these joints like that? And then you look at like, post-war, it's like something like the Race of Gentlemen, right? Trog, and how they build cars that are specific to that era. They don't use these, but then they were using talk about hot rodding, and depending on if it's Fast and Furious, American Graffiti, or Two-Lane Blacktop, your unit of measure in those movies, those have an impact on you. So Trog was, their intention is to do of era stuff. They're using airplane things, right? Yeah. So now here you're like talking about not only your weaponry, but your weapons of your WMDs, and talking about dirt and tires and asphalt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is, like I said, the functions of fashion, and like even fashion designers, sometimes it's just gaudy, but like shout out to my boy Ali Asha at Workham, where he had a company called Alphanumeric. I don't know if you remember that clothing company, but previous to that, he was Drawers and Dub. This is another San Diego connection. Drawers and Dub, their snow clothing, the function was the fashion.
Yeah.
This is before Burton really kind of leveled up. So just applying that kind of theology to car parts
and skate shoes.
Absolutely.
You'll see that extra little wrap of leather around where you're doing an ollie, grinding your foot on sandpaper all day. But then you see in the fashion world, like they put it on the shoes, but it's in the wrong spot, right? Like, so
you blew it.
Yeah, you can't like do an ollie in those Louis Vuittons because you're going to wear through them too quickly.
And that's the point is you could be a great marketer. And I learned this at Maguire's, where it's a consumable product. And I always say, make the toilet paper, not the toilet. Yeah. Meaning that you're going to burn through toilet paper. You only go through one toilet unless you have the wrong thing. Montezuma's Revenge down there in Baja. But I would say that, just seeing the companies and iterations and seeing what they're doing, it's exciting, man. It's really cool.
So where do you think drifting's heading?
Ooh. I think drifting is really in a really good space right now. We are in the golden era. The car builds, I think, are at a really good zenith point. I don't want to say like it's not going to go any further, because did not anticipate it going to, on average, 1,000 horsepower cars. To your point about talking about suspension, I feel like you nerd out on geometry and the actual functionality as opposed to the aesthetics. But where the builds are going, and professional drifting to the caliber of Formula Drift, the premier international drifting sanction body, you can go to an event, and if you're an engineer, you fixate on the cars. If you're a personality, you're into the personalities and the stars and the cars, and then the locations, the destinations, the track. Round 1 in Long Beach, we just announced round 8 will be LB2, right? So it's the showdown on Shoreline. So we're going reverse. Round 8 will be back in Long Beach. That's like a home and birthplace of kind of Formula Drift. The cars, I think, are just at a really good safe spot.
Safe spot, but wild. You're talking
Group B rally cars where it's at.
Yeah, you're talking drift cars when they were at the inception of like Formula D, were mainly JDM, smaller displacement, big turbo, lots of lag, and required a certain bit of finesse and driver skill over anything else.
Yes.
Now, horsepower is disposable. 1,000 horse, 2,000 horse grows on trees. And like you were saying with the suspension geometry, what is it that you can expect? Well, everything.
Yep.
There's nothing on the table. You're triangulating 3 tires to get traction and angle, and you're transmitting 1,000 horsepower to the tires. I mean, it's a sport that started off as being exhibition and etiquette to now just being beasts on the road. And man, it's pretty awesome.
And I think it's getting the respect. Thank you. And yeah, absolutely. To your point, I think it's getting the respect that it deserves now. From, like I said, the different vantage point. I always talk about perspective. I'm just always in the booth. I'm not down the line. I don't see the drama down there, them thrashing, getting a competition timeout, wrenching on the car. But perspective wise, if you're first time, like bringing somebody and they're like, dude, this is insane. Like if it's somebody that's not even in the automotive world, they're like, wow, this is ridiculous. And then you could focus on engineering. You could focus on the cars. You could focus on the personalities.
So real quick, saying that brought up a good thought for me. What are, like, for the people out there that haven't really watched drifting or don't fully understand it? Because I think for me, like, when I watch it, I just see people getting, like, radically sideways at really high speeds now, right?
Yeah.
But what are the rules in drifting? Like the golden rules.
Drifting is unlike any other motorsport. No, I'm joking. Drifting. So, and we've seen different iterations because you have to think, baseball's so old. Off-road truck racing, get to the finish line first. And, RIP Ken Block was a great friend of ours. Ken did not like drifting. He's just like, don't get it. I like it. Cool. But I need a checkered flag. I need to beat somebody.
Yeah.
Drifting is more like freestyle motocross, figure skating. It has an amplitude meter, but it's all about line, angle, and style. Line, are you navigating the car as close as possible to clipping points or zones? So denoting you're showcasing your driving prowess. Angle, more driving prowess, horsepower, side bite, like you talk about mechanical, traction and what's going on, how you can navigate that car, manipulate the car to do what it wants. So line, clipping points and zones, angle, and then style, how you do it. Because you see somebody do it, like you talk about, even just designing an element, but how they race. What line, dude, that's the man line. Like in the desert or drifting. The parameters are set at every stop of, for instance, the 2025 Formula Drift season. We have, Long Beach, Atlanta, Orlando, New Jersey, Seattle, Utah, ends back in Long Beach, right? And the tracks are all different. So you got to bring your Leatherman to the gunfight.
Yeah.
You got to have the screwdriver, to tighten it up. You got to have the little toothpick to get the dirt out of your teeth because some tracks are a little nasty than others. Long Beach, shoot, you spent your whole silly season building your car. Let's take you to the least forgiving, walls on all sides. You might ride off a car, but just survive it.
Yeah.
Atlanta's like the birthplace, the womb. We started in 2004, Formula Drift. And to your point, Rich, it's like, wound up Hachiroku 886 S13s, Sam Hubinette and a Dodge Viper.
Yeah.
So you had this kind of old guard, Reese Millen, right? Yeah. And Sam Hubinette, they were 1 and 2, and then Tanner won. So it was like, those three guys, have since progressed their stoke. And now, we're on like our third generation of personalities and people. So, in regards to judging and criteria, I hope that gives a little clarity, but line, angle, style, and now with the progression and where we're at now, we've really tried to go back to the essence of drifting. That's head to head. So, cause you don't win on qualifying, if that's Indy 500, NASCAR, or, obviously, taking laps and getting your seating where you're at, where you're starting. We've gotten back to the essence. So it's all head to head, all thriller, no filler, baby. So we are going head to head from qualifying and where you seed. We have the seeding brackets and then pre-seeded. And if you watch it once, and we could break it down, but we now, with the equity and the history we have 20 plus years, we want to educate those newcomers and also, advise and talk to the old timers.
So speaking of newcomers, when was the first time you were compelled to get in that seat and crank that wheel?
I just, back to the San Diego street racing days, I've just always been kind of a spectator. And my buddies had hopped up Hondas and Integras, and again, ripping my buddy's 91 Integra back in 97 down Miramar Road and open it up like it was a 10-second Honda car and I'm like, holy shit, this thing's fast. And boop, got pulled over. I was like, hey, where were you? He's like, I didn't see you. I just heard you. Because just an uncorked drag racing kit back in the day. Drag was like a big turbo kit for Hondas. My buddy Sean lent me the keys and I was like, this is cool. This is really rad. But I like adrenaline. I like, obviously dopamine as they call it, right? But I just knew I'm a big dude, don't fit in cars. I talk decently wells, and I found my niche and I found my role, and it kind of found me. So I've always had an affinity for cars, but I got soft hands. I talk a lot of shit, have a lot of fun, and
perfect for the street races.
Yeah. And I love my role and where it's really kind of manifested and just where it's going. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like cool car collection or this or that, I am a jack of all trades, master at none. And just as, being a father, and I want my kid to supersede what I do. That's why your boy's doing his thing. And he took that perspective of the VHS camera. Cool. That was dope. And those are the kind of things. It's like, let's get creative. Let's get unique. Let's, man, I remember when, like I said, make today a good old day. My son's doing a Disney college internship. He's out of Disney doing that. And he's he's 18, and my 11-year-old's playing video games. And there's a kid named Ellis Spezia. He raced over in Europe for a couple of years, and now he's back in the States. He was doing nitrocross before they killed the series. And, he developed a whole Roblox racing game within the game and built it. It's super sick, and my 11-year-old helped him develop it, and he's going to do another game, and the 11-year-old's going to help him develop it and kind of be like an R&D guy. Holy crap.
I think that's really cool. But it's awesome you're letting them do that, because a lot of parents would be like, I don't want my kids playing video games. Like, what a waste of time. I'm like, well, it's giving them really good hand-eye coordination. It's developing their brain a certain way. It obviously depends on the video game. Yeah. But when my kid was playing, his motocross games or race car games, and even like the Call of Duty type stuff, right? It's like, watching them actually do it is wild. And what's really crazy is they got into that Fortnite game where like just their fingers and watching it's almost like you're watching a computer doing its thing. They're so locked in and it's wild. But there's really quick thought going in there. And then when he got into racing, and I would be with them in the truck, not during races, but kind of train them how to drive, just how I saw the same focus go into reading the terrain. Yeah. Which is pretty cool to watch, right?
And the engagement, where we live, we're not remote, but we don't have like kids next door. You can go across the street like we did in Arizona. We're here in California now. So he's like, hey, are you going to be on later? Yeah, I'll be on. And I'm like, yo, go.
But then they're talking to each other.
And they're talking smack. So you learn a little bit of bowling.
Well, there's like socialism going on, right?
Like, hey, on your left, go here. Hey, drop in here. Do this, do that. Right. So they're engaging.
Some teamwork happens.
Some teamwork makes the dream work. And then they're, like you say, the hand-eye coordination in a Fortnite, in a Call of Duty, and then the Sims. Holy crap. Like, dude, they're 14 years old. Hiro Manoa, this Japanese kid, he podiums. He's the youngest ever last year. This kid from Japan. He does 10,000 laps on a track before he comes to an FD round. So he got 2 podiums last year at 14, birthday, 15. He's back at it. He just got second in Japan, FD Japan. Kengushi got number 1. What does that tell you?
Perfect muscle man.
100%.
Right? Matt
you learn
with
the
that,
track.
New Zealand, Lincoln with that. They did a short course series in New Zealand. Father, son. Lincoln got first. Mad Mike got second.
Yeah.
What does that tell you, dude?
It's pretty wild.
It's so cool. Like, we live in, it's Louis C.K. on Conan O'Brien. He's like, everything's amazing. Nobody's happy. We're in a chair in the sky, flying cross country. Read a magazine, take a poop, and you're there. Yeah. Families changed. People changed. People died. And now here we are.
But that's what's cool about, what our kids are doing, right? Because they're not living just that generic life, right? And I think that's what the automotive culture really teaches, right? Is that individual. Yeah. Being an individual. I'm twisting my tongue around. And that's what my son, he would always be like, how do I take this wheel out? Or what size is the socket? Or what's this thing? I'm like, I don't know, dude, figure it out. That's he could do a clothing line, Kyle. I don't know, figure it out. Because that's what I tell him all the time, right? Even to this day. I'm like, you're 23, you're brilliant, you're smart, you do it. You've done all these other things. Why are you asking me? Just go do it. And I see it more and more now. And that's where, coming into that camera and filming and finding his little niche, I would have never said, go take that $25 camera that you bought and go make rad videos with it. Yep. But that's just what he saw. So he figured it out.
Impressed me.
And that's just letting them have their own path.
Who knew this was going to be a dad podcast, right? I mean, but also, yeah, I said,
but that's who we are now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm unapologetic, dude. The gray hair, I'm here for it. Rich, you came out of the womb with gray hair. Yeah. So yeah, like Santa, he was like Santa baby. 6 pounds, 7 ounce little baby Jesus right here.
He has a little bit of gray on the back. The rest of it's now white. So he went from gray to white.
I like it.
Yeah, but it looks good on him.
But when I say it, and I absolutely am genuine with it, like, any way I can help you. Like, and again, we just, we saw our boy Matt leave, and it's like, dude, any way I can help you. Like that's where I generally live. And people DM like, hey man, like, I'm announcing this little event. What do you? I said, be yourself. Here's my pillars. Be honest. Never think a day in your life what you said. That's your life. It's your wife, your lover, even your enemy. Yeah. Right? Dude, F you, straight up. Like, that's how I feel. Be honest, be humble. Yeah. Everybody thinks they're self-made, getting high in their own supply. If you're an artist, you're a builder, you're a racer, you need a team, right? Be honest, be humble, under promise, over deliver. I learned that at Enterprise Rent-A-Car during 9/11. Worked at San Diego Airport, right? And S at the fan. No planes going out. People were loving on people, right? Be honest, be humble, under promise. And then do you, Jared? Do you, Rich? Do you, Jared? Because there's only one of you, and all the fingerprints in the DNA that have made you and sculpted you in this beautiful piece of clay, or ugly, but ugly all the same and proudly, right? So when people are like, oh, I'm doing this event, dude, do you, and not in a like unapologetic rude way, but you have your eyeballs, you have your perspective, man. And that's what I think is really important with this. And, I always say that, like I was one of the 5 finalists for the last iteration of Top Gear on Motor Trend. Mm-hmm. So it was Rob Corddry, Dax Shepard, and they eventually went with the English guy, the rider. Great guy. And it was me, Chris Forsberg, and Lieberman was one of the finalists. I couldn't do it. I was officiating a wedding in Texas, so I just called in. I couldn't go physically. And, and I was just like, they didn't go with me. And it's fine because I'm a big American hairy dude. They went with an English journalist, and that's totally fine. I'm mint chip. You don't like mint chip, but sure as hell, I'm sweet and nuclear green. You know what I mean? But you might like nuts in yours. That's fine. You like a different ice cream flavor. I'm a different ice cream flavor. And I'm okay with that. And I have to be okay with that. So keep on keeping on. But, all that being said, I've traveled the world, seen a lot of things, and want to keep perpetuating the stoke, man.
Well, and that's, I see that individualism with you where you're on the sidelines being the commentator and being the fan from the sidelines, which I think is awesome. So you're technically a true super fan.
I am.
Like, if you think about it like that, right? Like, you're a professional.
I'm a professional fan. I hope those teams have fun.
Yeah. No, but that's why I think people are really drawn to you. You're a really cool character in the scene. You see it everywhere you go. People are drawn to you with it. You have a lot of energy, which is great. But the conversation of the dad thing came in. So how did you get into cars?
Like I said, my dad had a couple Porsches when I was a kid, like a 3 Series BMW. I remember my uncle had like a Corvette Stingray. He had nitrous on it. It was like when Batman came out. I remember seeing that in Northern California. It was like this, just the curves on a Stingray. Yeah. That's like a kid's drawing. That's literally, I do things with Hot Wheels and they have the gold flaked one. How I got into cars and started monetizing it was growing up street racing Hondas in San Diego. The quick Wikipedia explanation is worked at a shop. Actually went to junior college, tried to go to junior college, but my Civic was hooked up. Didn't want to get a door dinged. I'm a terrible student, but I'm a constant student. I'm always learning every day. If you're dying on the vine, if you don't learn something new every day, just walk in here, learn something new. Dropped out of junior college, worked at a shop called Group 5. Worked at a magazine called TMR, did that, worked at Enterprise, worked at Gumball 3000, worked at Speedwell Footwear, worked at a toy company called Modifiers. It was part of X Concepts, Tech Decks back then. Yeah. So the authenticity consultant, 6 months worked there. They sucked my brain of knowledge, kicked me out the door. Gumball 3000, I brought in the whole action sports side of things, got Bucky, Tony Hawk, Kerry Hart, Travis Pastrana on Gumball 3000 in 2003.
Okay.
I eventually worked for Gumball 3000. I did the rally 5 times. Maximilian's a friend of mine. I introduced Max to Tony Hawk. Hawk is Max's son, Cash's godfather. I like connecting people. We'll get to that. But basically, growing up and all that. 2003, prior to that, Jim Lau and Ryan Sage, co-founders of Formula Drift, they had a company called Slipstream Global. They were doing events for Mazda. They met at Hanapur Nights. Jim Lau's his DNA is like import drag racing, hot import tuner stuff.
Nopey
Ryan, Nopey stuff, but yeah. And then eventually Ryan and Hanapur Nights, they came together. They brought D1 GP to the States in 2003.
Okay.
That was a Japanese run company. They kind of screwed them, and that was the push they needed to develop Formula Drift. And in 2004, we kicked off with 4 rounds: Atlanta, Sonoma, Irwindale, and Houston. So it was bookended by Atlanta and Irwindale. Up until this year, Irwindale RIP, track is gone. Yeah, it is what it is. But Ryan and Jim said, hey, you're charismatic. Why don't you try this? I've never spoken professionally. Like I always say that in 7th grade, Mr. Curtis heard me talking in the back of the classroom. My voice carried, and I was always the kid that read aloud. I didn't like reading books, but I liked my voice being heard. So I'd read, 4 score and 7 years ago. Oh, 4, so I'd read. When I started monetizing it, and even the first year I didn't get paid anything because I was working concurrently for Meguiar's. So this was something where I could piggyback Meguiar's as a brand while announcing 4 rounds of FD not getting paid. Right. So, and then 05, okay, $1,000 an event and like still working McGuire's. And then it really snowballed. 08, we know, all dove. But now it's like FD, I can't do it solely off of just that money. But now it's allowed me a platform to work with money companies such as yourself or Hot Wheels or, I've done video game voiceover, again, Harley Davidson. I've worked with Toyota, Ford, all the Scion, obviously previously, Goodwood Festival Speed. I've seen the world and I'm so blessed, so fortunate because life is about relationships and the phone's still ringing as old, gray and tattooed. My body is a passport where, eat local, drink local, get tattooed local. This is an embodiment of my travel, just like an old sailor, but I'm just in a plane and I'm talking smack. So that's where it really began, was in San Diego, and just all of those things, automotive, even enterprise rent-a-car, get my tie stuck in a vacuum. I learned a lot there. I had to shave every day. My producer's laughing over here. But
what was you doing with the vacuum? Was it like that whole?
Yeah, that's why I got fired.
That's the character building stuff.
You had to clean the cars, and I had to shave.
His hair's like standing up. Like this.
My general manager came through and like, Jarod, dude, here's a shaver, like plastic yellow shaver. Go shave in the bathroom. I'm like, I had to shave, dude, because I didn't like. And mind you, I'm like 25, 23, and she's like, go shave. I'm like, dude.
Isn't the enterprise rent-a-car like the people at the desk? Like, don't they have to graduate college first?
Yeah, my brother worked there and he got me in.
Yeah,
he like fast passed me, and it was cool. And like, and I did a great job. I loved it. Some of my best stories, and those would be off camera, but like some wild stories working at enterprise rent-a-car.
The rental business back in the day was basically giving people the opportunity to go race cars without spending money.
Back in the day, I don't know.
GPS now, they take pictures of cars. It's a little harder.
As recent as last year, I have seen some amazing rental car races. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Back in the day, you mean like last Thursday?
Oh no, I'm talking about the ones where you'd bring them back on a flatbed.
Oh yeah, that's
because you had walkaway insurance back then for $20. It was a $20 rental, but it was a $20 walkaway. Mm-hmm. So for $40, you can go see if that curb that you thought you might be able to catch air off of could catch air off of.
But don't they still have the insurance? But
it's liability. It's based on GPS. There's so many holes in that.
This sounds really personal, right? Like, look, go ahead and tell us. What'd you do?
There was a
Where are the bodies? Where are the bodies, Rich?
Rentalracing.com that someone used to own that used to document the travels of people renting and racing. I'm not allowed to rent from a few companies anymore.
You are? You are?
Yes.
I know people that aren't allowed to rent. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My name is Oxidizer on my social media. So nitrous, fits on everything.
Oh my God.
Got to test it out first.
Yeah, dude.
Well, you test it on the rental car, then you go take it to the street races because you didn't want to get caught. Or if you did get caught, the old trick was you had an under manifold system and you strategically placed your tank inside of another tank, and then you'd have the bottle in a bag discovered. So you negotiate your space and have them find the nitrous, pull it out, and
do you know this
on him.
That's why he's too smart. Like he figured out the way beyond that way.
He's like a weird little Jedi, dude.
Yeah, the whole world of street racing, I think, was always a funny thing because it's sort of frowned upon. It's absolutely taboo, but it forced you to think. It's no different than NASCAR. What's NASCAR?
Was there a rule book in street racing?
No. Don't get caught.
Unspoken. Yeah, don't get caught. But yeah, run and shine till the end of time. NASCAR was purely based off of run and moonshine. Yeah. And then building a race car and like, dude, you're pretty fast. Let's get these guys together, right? Henry Ford, when did they race cars? When they built two. Yeah. So yeah, it's all right. Well, Rich is a little sneaky. He's got a sneaky Pete, dude. Sneaky Rich.
For sure.
Okay. All right. I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's the ingenuity that I love about this industry is that it's always derived off of, there's these key elements you find. It's one, a passion, two, no fear of what an obstacle is, whether that's someone saying you can't do it, the absence of parts, go find them. Mm-hmm. And it's a passion thing. It's not always, there's a certain degree of like community and camaraderie, which, I don't think there's an opportunity you've said no to. You've listened to everybody. You've talked to every aspect of this business. And in one way, shape, or form, it's exposed you to this world of opportunities. And I think scale that all the way down to your car, and it's the same thing. That guy wants to find what's the best way I can make this the best I want it. And you're going to hit a lot of obstacles, whether it's financial, whether it's opportunities because parts aren't made. And we just figure it out.
Yeah. Larry Chen and I talk about that, and we've kind of come up, I started FD in 04. He came a little later, but look at Larry and just what he's worked hard for. You can talk about manifestation and thinking it'll happen, and that's real hippy dippy and nug champa. I get it. I love that. Like, I'm here for it. But at the same time, like, working hard. And I don't like the word sacrifice because there's compromisation. Sacrifice is something's dying. It's dead. No, like, you're compromising your work and your craft to have a better life for your family and your tribe. And also, ideally, like we said, having your kids perpetuate the stoke and do better, like tattooing, right? Like, you have apprentices. You want your apprentice to do better than you. Yeah. And they'll give credit where credit is due. And in that thing, Larry Chen and I talk about access and relationships and where we're at. If it is here, he's on the MF show soon, and Ken Block, or just different things. And your guys' booth at SEMA show is so active. It's cool. It's so many different fabrics in the quilt, and you guys are stitching that together metaphorically, and it just, you see it and you feel it, and the authenticity is key. The authenticity and the equity that one has, if it's Chip Foose or, if it is Goldberg, Rutledge, everybody has their space, and it's cool. Like, make space, like, whatever. Katy Perry, she's an astronaut. So I'm just picking the scab for this guy. I know. Oh my God. But all that being said is access, the relationships, and astronauts. Why are astronauts called astronauts and hemorrhoids called hemorrhoids? Shouldn't they be the opposite?
Probably. Asteroids and hemorrhoids, you mean?
Yeah. Hemorrhoids should be asteroids, and hemorrhoids should be.
You're taking this down.
You're making me
think.
I see the
Deep
smoke.
Thoughts
I see the smoke.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Anyways, what's the next question? Didn't know you got Neil deGrasse Tyson up in this beat, right?
I know, right? Yep. Oh, man, too good. But yeah, SEMA. Let's go to SEMA.
SEMA show. Yeah.
What are your thoughts of direction of SEMA these years?
I think that I would say overall the COVID years helped a lot of companies control alt delete, and I hate the word, but I'll use it. Pivot, adapt, amalgamate, coagulate into something different. I work a lot with Snap-on tools. They did a lot of digital things. Hot Wheels, I worked with them in doses, but during COVID, we did a lot of things digital with the Hot Wheels Legends tour, because previous it was like at Walmart's, it's physical. So I think it gave people creative justice to control, delete, adapt, pivot, really assess the market. What are they trying to accomplish? Obviously, a lot of parts. We know that stimulus, people not traveling. So you're working on your project cars, you're working on your house, you're working on yourself, working out. Cool. It is what it is. Now we're moving on. I feel like we're going 100 miles per hour before COVID. We went to a standstill. I was still traveling a ton. And then now we're going $150 with a Dutch out the sunroof, same money and a thing. So it's SEMA and SEMA show. It's in great hands with Mike Spagnola. Absolutely love Spags. I call him the Lorax. He speaks for the cars, not the trees. He's just an advocate with what he's done with street scene and seen that, grow it, build it, sell it, do it. His kids are perpetuating that. SEMA's in a good place. There's some companies and some things that do things the way they've been done because that's the way they've been done. I think that's more of an ideology of individuals that try to instill that into other people. I'd like to see, you, like I said, about a car and go into Concours d'Elegance or Goodwood or going to Cars and Coffee. You don't know all the cars. And there's somebody that knows more than you. Ask those people. Utilize your resources in front of you. So SEMA show is a big old beast, right? Largest trade show in Las Vegas, longest running, blah, 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 all that. SEMA show is about the people. SEMA show is the canvas. The companies are the paint and the people are the artists. Yeah. So that needs to come together. So something like SEMA Fest is a little advantageous, maybe a little aggressive, just given the climate, what's going on. Last year was great. It was one day as opposed to two, but the entertainment, it's still a bucket list event for a lot of people. Yeah. Where SEMA show's at is people are getting creative. Back in the day, first SEMA show was at Dodgers Stadium 50 plus years ago. How many can I put you down for? Yeah. Why they're super old timey. Yeah. Now, see, like, I don't know, they have SOS, Morse code, but I break news. they used to be pen to paper, take orders, all that. Now it's, let me showcase the latest and greatest. And hey, let me invite you. It's a little BTS is what I would take, you know, and I know we talked about maybe potentially your activation. I don't know if I'm divulging too much, but how one engages with said company is very important. How much you show the innerlings, the inner workings, the roots of the company. And then also you could be a great marketer, but your product needs to stand alone. What differentiates your product from the others? Whatever widget X, Y, and Z is, why is that a better value for me? Cost, you know, CTA, call to action, where are you at? Where do you meet there? Because there's some ridiculous cars, but shoot, guess what? That car just does enough. But if you have that budget, do that. I like that for you. Not me. You know, like you look at something like the Ineos Grenadier, that car changed the game. Like I think, you know, here's a Defender. I love my dream garage, GT3 and Defender 110.
Yeah.
Done.
110s are badass.
Right? Boom. Put an LS in the 110s, only thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, GT3 I barely squeeze into. But so the Ineos Grenadier, here's a guy, right, Radcliffe, who's like, I love the Defender, heard you're closing factory. Nope, we're pivoting and making the new Defender. All right, well, I'm just going to build my own factory. I'm going to use this drivetrain from the BMW and make it full-time, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and I'm going to do this. That's adaptation. So, sorry, dude, I go on tangents. I don't know if you know that. But SEMA shown where it happens is opportunity, filling that void, giving good value, investment. When somebody buys a product, they're investing into not only the company, but the people, the ethos of it, what goes on. You know, if somebody buys a MagnaFlow exhaust, it says something about them as opposed to your competitors. 100%. And rising tide lifts all ships. You know, your competitors, without saying names, there's a lot of them, but where your cream rises to the top is because they're better in your product and you're adapting and you have to stay relevant, both the marketing and product and efficiency and value. Yeah. So SEMA, I think, is that platform for company X, Y, and Z to do that. And it could be marketing. It could be showcasing latest and greatest and how they're progressing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Be here all week.
Good time. So SEMA builds and directions. You know, I've seen a lot of changes at SEMA going there as a racer and a buyer, right? For Camberg, like there's a lot of products we would buy there to sell in our store, but at the same time, our marketing partners. But I've seen the trend of trucks, like, you know, you look out front and there's these like huge, crazy.
The Texas roller skates?
That.
I'm just going to call it like it is. Like, yeah. What's your take on those?
I mean, I appreciate everything. Like, I used to do these like little videos and post them on those. Like, okay, this badass thing with like coilovers and bypass shocks and air lifting up and down, but where's the front drive shaft, right? I'm starting to see front drive shafts in them now. Maybe those videos I posted.
You did it. It was you.
Yeah, 6 years ago, called them out. I did it. No, I think a lot of people posted those videos.
Yes, the Bluetooth drive shafts.
Yes. But the, you know, looking at it, like, you know, there's that whole truck scene right out in front of SEMA on the south end of SEMA. You know, I wish they kind of mix that up, but I guess they need a place to put them. But I'm seeing like really crazy body work again, but back to the form, function, like the looks coming from the function, right? These wide bodies, these big brakes, these like billet, lightweight magnesium wheel, like all this crazy stuff going on with suspension, cars, twin turboed, lots of power, which probably from the drift world, like that kind of shows it off and makes it shine, the noises it makes, right? The exhaust system you're running. But what do you see the trend happening? Because I see this wide body, this high end thing happening, but what do you see with all the cars? Because I feel like the auto manufacturers now, like, what do you go out and buy brand new that you could really mod?
Yeah.
Right? Versus back in the day, it was a lot easier. Yeah. Right.
Yes. I mean, even Scion, when they launched Scion as a brand, it fed a certain void, right? Because Honda totally abandoned the tuner market. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think they have loyalists, but they don't have that ravenous fan that they used to. Toyota has done a decent job. Actually, as of recent, really good job. Yeah. The whole Gazoo Racing GR is insane. Yeah. Like, dude, the Corolla, like, holy
hot hatch of the world.
Dude, hot hatch, 3-cylinder turbo, all-wheel drive. Yeah. Duh. And then they make the super limited edition, like Step Papadakis has one. Yeah. Like, what? It's so sick. And then the Supra, and then the off-road stuff. Trends for me is to your point, I've been a fan of this. Is the function is the fashion. You know, that was even the Honda stuff. Looking at Spoon Sports, looking at Mugen, you know, putting Euro fans, turbo fans on wheels. Those weird looking Mugen wheels. What is it, MF1s that look like kind of like a circuit board, but then they had the turbo fans on them on EFs. They were 16s. Yeah, I'm like, those are sick. The gauge, like I was a big Honda nerd, and then now going to Air and Water most recently or Luftgekocht. You tip your hat and you're like, that's sick. Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, I know you're a Porsche guy. I aspire to own one. I hope my oldest son buys me one. That's what he said.
What year was he born?
He 06.
Okay. Yeah. So turbo, manual turbo, 06, father-son project.
There we go.
There you go. Handed it to you.
All right. I like it. So that would be good. I like that. All right. The function is a fashion. And I've just always believed in that ethos because it is. There's, you know, and again, double need Carhartt pants. You know, I'm only wearing Carhartt because I'm working on myself. But overall, just the function is the fashion, the body kits. What is RWB, raw welt, right? The rough world, the whole RW thing where Nakai's, you know, smoking cigarettes in his chair, looking at a little artistry, but that was inspired by track day Porsches. Yeah. And that aesthetic came from the track. And now it's like a street, like, you know, Mark Arsenal, Brian Scotto had the first RWBs in the States. And now you're seeing Nakai bring a chair and smoke cigarettes and crank Heinekens and cut into an 911. Is it blasphemy? Maybe. Whatever. Yeah. That's your canvas.
Yeah,
dude.
That's his canvas.
So trends, love the overlanding space. I think the functionality is sick. You know, you go up to Flagstaff. It's where my son started college, took a little hiatus. The Disney College internship. Love Flagstaff. Don't tell anybody. It's beautiful. Truck drivers know about Flagstaff because they have to go through there. But I love the overlanding, the function, the shells, the wheels, the stuff. Fitments are wild now. Like, again, with my Tundra, did the advanced fiberglass fenders with the Kings and then the Camberg arms. Yeah. Larry's got the cooler ones than I do. You just gave me the basic ones. It's fine. But why did Toyota, that arch like this? Yeah. Like, bro, I mean, the Raptor did it. Like, and again, love them all, man. I'm Switzerland, baby. Like, I love them all. You know.
But yeah, they make that tire. It's hard to put the bigger tire on a Tundra because the front to back, it's kind of a lot like a Chevy. Yeah. Everything gets that way front to back. Yep. And then when you bottom out a little bit and, you know, you compress the suspension, then that bigger part of the tire is now right at the body mount and the body and the corners and the bumper.
I'm barking up the right tree right now. I get it.
No, I sit there and when I talk to my buddies that are designers at the manufacturers, I'm like, you know, just a couple phone calls with us would help a lot for you guys because the aftermarket world would embrace your trucks way more if you just kind of had a little panel of a few of us that can give you some good insight on the design.
That's why you gotta love Jim Farley, dude. Like Jim Farley, just an absolute, he's like a Spags. He's like just these people that are the Lorax and Jim Farley. We're going back, and I love that going back on the drifting thing. I did an event for Ford, and it was the first time the GTD in Detroit, and we had all the Mustangs there from drift to 3 to Le Mans to drag. And he's like, we're going back to Le Mans. We're going this racing. And it was like, we're going drifting. Didn't skip a beat. Drifting was not a side dish. It was part of the full on entree. Yeah. And Farley is delivering on what he is doing. And the GT3 Killer at Nürburgring, right? The Green Monster. Those are the manufacturers and those are the people who are at the helm. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. What are we trying to accomplish here?
They're having fun with it and they become auto enthusiasts. And that's, I think, the bigger key is when you're an enthusiast of what you're doing, then you see the reality of what the consumers want. And even with Toyota, like their newer vehicles, you know, like even with Lexus, they come stock with 35. So they've heard it, right? Mm-hmm. And they have like a line of accessories, like, you know, the Mopar guys, they have a line of accessories. And I like that you can go to a catalog and buy product and do these things. But we need the enthusiasts there. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's been a lot of suit and tie in Detroit that's just focused on the numbers. And maybe at the time that worked, but you can see what is not working today with a lot of these manufacturers. You can't go down the road of, you know, vanilla. And I feel like now it's like, what's the success of the Raptor, right? What's the success of the Bronco?
The T-Rex. I mean, the T-Rex, like there's all those hidden little Easter eggs of things, and that's your competitors, and you rise and you develop, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take that thing down.
But when you go down that road, that elevates the whole brand.
Yep.
Yeah, there's not hundreds of thousands of people every year buying Raptor Rs. There's probably only maybe 10 or 20,000 people. But it elevates the whole brand as like, that's the best truck on the road right now, right? Badass V8, lots of power, whatever. But the aftermarket world, like we were just in Utah Post Malone show, and there's this Raptor R with, you know, the MagnaFlow exhaust, and he's got aftermarket bumpers and lights and KMC wheels and all Camberg suspension. And they're like, man, this thing works so good. Like they love it. Right. And, it's on the factory, shocks on the 25 model, or like the dual adjusters that are built into it now. So I haven't driven on those yet, but I'm sure it's a big improvement of the past.
But that's Fox.
They come stock on there.
They can look it up, but I just had to click.
And so those come on there, and you know, it's got to make a big difference on the rebound control, because the original Raptors are kind of bouncy when you actually take them off road. But they're beautiful truck stock. Like you just right out of the box you go. And then you see, you know, some of these aftermarket companies, they're, you know, trying to upfit these vehicles way ridiculous. And I don't think the consumer wants that the same way as they do that factory vehicle you could actually mod out.
Yeah.
You know, they give you a great canvas, a blank canvas that starts off is just awesome.
Ryan Sage, president of Formula Drift, has a Raptor R. Like, you know, like
they're rowdy, man.
They're so rowdy. Like, Cletus McFarlane, I've done a couple events of his, and he had a T-Rex, he had this, he had that. Raptor R is like best truck I've ever owned. Yeah. And he's just, hey, Travis, and he just got it. Pastrana was there. He's like, throw. He's like,
oh yeah.
And then he's like, dude, this truck is so sick. Because Vaughn folded the first one. Yeah. Vaughn in Vegas. Do you remember that? We had Formula Drift in Vegas.
Why you jump him?
Yeah. And he just bent the frame.
Well, I actually had the first one, even so I had it shipped to Team Ford in Las Vegas. You could like pick a Ford dealership to send it to. So my buddy Steve Oligas owns Team Ford. So I had it shipped there, and he's like, how'd you get a Raptor R already? I'm like, well, I work with Ford on this, right? So I had like the first one probably on the West Coast, one of the very first ones ever. That's when MagnaFlow got to have the exhaust right away, because they're like, we need it right now. Yeah, here you go. But I knew when I go off road with that thing, I'm like, I can't own this. I'm going to break it in half. So I went.
But that's the test bed.
But as a street
break
truck,
that thing. You're like, hey Jim, I broke your thing. Can I get it?
Yeah. Well, if I got it that way, then yeah, no problem. But I had to buy it.
No, I get it.
Not a free vehicle.
You sold that thing already. You flipped it.
No, I kept it a year.
Did you? Oh, God.
I had it a year. I love
it. John Cena in the Ford GT.
Jeez.
No,
too soon.
Is that what he
did?
His
little clause that he
John Cena got the first Ford GT, and you're supposed to keep it, and he sold it within a year, and Ford went after. I don't know.
I think if I was able to get a Ford GT,
here comes John Cena. I didn't see him come in. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I would have still owned the Ford GT. That car's badass. But with the Raptor, thing's so much fun. I was talking to Alan Pfluger. I don't know if you know who Alan Pfluger is, but he's one of the first Monster sponsored trophy trucks that raced in Score.
Okay.
And he, you know, the Flying Hawaiian was his name.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So he's badass dude. Anyways, we've been friends for years, and he's like, hey, guess what I'm doing, in his Hawaiian accent, right? He's like, I just got back from the joke is Starbucks in your Raptor. Yeah. But he's got these Raptors. He actually drove across the United States off-road. Like they destroyed Raptors just by so much off-roading across the United States. But his Raptor R, that's what he has on Oahu in Hawaii. Sick. And that's his truck. Yeah. They're so perfect for that, because it gives you speed, power, and off-road ability, which I'm sure he's got place to go off-road on Oahu. But they're just badass trucks.
They are. My buddy Garrett Marrero, I went to high school with him here in Poway. He owns Maui Brewing Company. He's got a Raptor. I mean, it's literally like the new school, cool. It's got the accoutrements of comfort, but then it has the functionality of, you know, it's the Belgian Malinois. She looks pretty, but she got teeth, dude. It's John Wick dog. Totally. It'll you know, sweet dog, and then I'll just jack you up and grab you by the jugular.
100%. And it's just fun to see. And then, you know, you got the TRX is basically the, you know, competition to it.
She's thick.
They're badass.
She's thick with 3 seats.
Well, the new RHO kind of took care of some of those problems and really made it a much more competitive platform.
And that's the, so I call the Raptor, I've been calling it the modern day 7 Series, because remember in early 2000s, everyone had to have one on 20s. It was just a car or a Mercedes.
I can see that.
Then that's what the Raptors, RHOs, TRX, like that's what they become, right? Yeah. It's like, hey, no, we're manly. We want to have something cooler than just this like comfortable grandpa car. And then I think that's been a big trend. And in Southern California, I mean, you see the richest dudes own Raptors.
True.
Like literally.
Yeah, it is definitely like a cool stat. And then the R is a flex. The Bronco Raptor, sick. Love that.
Those
love
are
that.
really cool.
Also Audi RS6 Avant. That's kind of low key. What I love wagon. I'm a big wagon guy. What is that? Humble brag. A Jetta wagon. A WRX wagon.
Yeah. Did you have the Jetta diesel wagon?
No, that was before. That was the salesman car. All the dudes that were
how badass are those cars?
Those were great.
Yeah.
No, mine came out. I was like, oh, wagon, and my wife worked at Bilstein. I don't know if you knew that. I met my wife at SEMA show in 1999.
Oh no way.
Would have figured.
Yeah, I've told this story like a million times. I was skateboarding down Flamingo. I meet her on the show floor. She was working at Tenneco Automotive, so she worked for Walker, Rancho, Dynamax, and then we meet. She was living in Illinois. We meet, bing, bong, boom. She worked at McGuire's 18 years. She's now at MW Co., so Momo Weld Company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So she has 2 degrees in automotive aftermarket and automotive marketing. She went to school called Northwood in Midland, Michigan.
Okay.
So she's the black and the white. I'm the gray, dude. I'm just the mortar that fills in the cracks, dude. Just like this fake wall right here. That's me. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I exposed the set here. Sorry.
You did say behind the scenes, right?
I did say BTS, but yeah, Raptors are sick. I would love a Raptor. My Tundra I call it the Titanium because it's a Toyota Tundra Platinum.
Yeah.
But then I updid it, and now it's the Toyota.
I will say that generation of Tundra, so like the 07 through
16, 17, yeah,
something like that. But they're the best trucks on the road at the time. The steering's thicker, the ball joints are bigger, they get tons of wheel travel stock. Like, so like for that like used car, you could mod and find parts easy.
V8.
It's a V8 and they got a 5.7 in those. They have
10 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you put a supercharger on it, you get better gas mileage.
I know. Larry's told me this.
Yeah.
And I need to probably just do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm at $130,000. I'm 130,000. So it's about that time to get ill.
Yeah. And they're badass. There's engines are bulletproof. And with the supercharger on, they make crazy horsepower. So.
The trans. I just need a new trans. If I throw that Magnuson on.
One thing that I've said before about like OEMs in this unusual cycle, I think I'm hoping for is that, the OEMs, they try to build a car that meets, that 85% of the market that is buying the car for utility. And then there's that 15%, which is us at the very top echelon who want to get the maximum performance and are willing to do anything to change it. And then of that, 15, there's that 10% who just want to, wheels, tires, a leveling kit and some other look. But there's this weird cycle you notice where the OEMs, they'll come out with a special vehicle and then the aftermarket will take it to the next level. Mm-hmm. And the OEMs go, we're going to take 2 parts from that and then we're going to integrate that in the next generation of vehicle. But that cycle used to be 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing now, especially with, you take what, Kniskus has done with all of the V8s in Dodge. I mean, Dodge was a minivan brand for the longest time until the Hemi came out.
Yeah, that's true.
And then all of a sudden, everything's got a supercharger making 700 horsepower. To the point,
making that car that brand badass.
They took it to that next level faster. And I think that's something that we're seeing a lot of, the Raptor R, all of these things. These are the aspirationables, but everybody can buy them. And I think it's a cool cycle. We're watching the aftermarket have to, come back and say, wow, okay, OEMs did this. This is how we're going to make it better. Mm-hmm. OEMs came back out and said, well, they did a wide body. We're going to do a wide body. And we're going to make it a track kick-ass car, GTD Ford. And it's like, well, Porsche came out and they said, well, we're going to benchmark the world. And then now Ford's coming after Porsche. And it's like, there's that competition amongst that we're seeing, I think, in our lifetime that was a lifetime before. We're watching 2 or 3 iterations of that evolution. Super exciting, but at the same time, it's like, when was the last time you thought you were going to be able to buy a off-road capable supercharged 700 horsepower Ford?
Never.
Off a lot?
Yeah. And like back to give Dodge credit. And again, dude, Genesis, Hyundai, Kia, like those like the Hyundai N's, like those things are sick, right? Like we live in a really good time. Like don't boohoo, and again, talking to like the dude that ran the cardboard on a podcast. Yeah. He was like, look, those cars will exist. They're just going to exist on track. Cause he was talking EV and emissions and all that. And again, Spags is fighting the fight, in DC, and we'll see where it lands. We only got one Earth. We got to take care of it. But is it the car? Anyways, it's another whole podcast. But Dodge, man, what a aggressive manufacturer. I'm talking Prowler, PT Cruiser, as hideous as a neon with a body kit is, it still pushed the envelope, you know, and that pushed Chevy to do, what was that, SSR?
The SSR truck.
Yeah. So that little generation of the Prowler, PT Cruiser, Viper.
Yeah.
Right? SRT 10, Dodge Viper, what? And then to do an ACR, to do this, that was the poster, you know, for me, it was the Lambo or the Porsche, right? The Countach
But
poster.
those vehicles are also very badass at the time.
Yeah.
They were really cool.
So it's cool. And like I said, make today a good old day. And we're going to look back. And like I said, even the Slate coming out at $20,000 for an EV, and it's the canvas, roll up windows. Take the EV scenario out of it.
We need that truck.
We do.
I was looking at the Toyota website, and it was like, if I could buy, which you can, but a 4-wheel drive, they just do it with leaf springs. But if it was the new linked rear suspension, I'd be all about a little access. They call it access cab, but an extra cab truck, you know, stick shift, 4-cylinder. Now it's a turbo, which they made.
Which car?
The new Tacoma.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, you know, you get a loaded Tacoma, those things are like 60 grand.
That's cute. Yeah.
It's Raptor Mini.
It's 80. It's 80 grand, dude.
Yeah.
Like the new Sequoia TRD Pro, 115.
Yeah. They are expensive.
Yeah.
But I just want a simple truck as my daily driver. It's got the leaf springs on the back. And I just, like, if it had that linked rear suspension, a 4-cylinder turbo, stick shift, and a 4-wheel drive, I don't even know if you can get a Toyota in a manual.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can. But that's what I would want. And it would be 30
the
grand.
Santa Cruz right now, right? And like, dude, Ford needs to make a Ranchero. Yeah. Dude, a Ranchero.
Well, they have the Maverick.
The Maverick, that's right. They
do have the Maverick.
The Santa Cruz is somebody else.
That's Hyundai.
That's a Hyundai Santa Cruz. So you got the Honda Ridgeline. You got the Ford Maverick, which my buddy Steve, he bought the Ford Maverick. And
what do you think?
He has a Raptor. And he's got Maverick. And he's like, man, the Maverick, I'm getting like 50 miles a gallon. Like hybrid, like he loves it. I just don't want the little teeny truck bed.
Right. I get it. And the pass through, like, I mean, look at like the Avalanche, what the Avalanche did for cars. And that was that kind of mod. What tool, what job?
Yeah.
Right. Where you're at, you know, and so I was getting my haircut the other day and the barber was like, I was like, yo, you think of that Slate? He's like, it's whack. And one of the dudes and my other guy's like, nah, it's perfect, dog. Like, it's the widget that fits that space. It's the square peg, you know, in that hole. Like, it's all good.
Well, the market got pushed to a limit where we can buy $170,000 trucks, which completely does the opposite. It opens up a new market for, well, where's the budget truck? Mm-hmm. I mean, the barrier to entry for a V8 truck nowadays is what, 45, 46,000, almost 50.
Yeah.
I mean, to think that, you know, just in our generation, pickup trucks were sub 20,000 in the 2000s. A V8 Mustang or a Camaro was sub $20,000 for a base car. And we've watched that, you know, quintuple. It's crazy. And with the market now at that level, they gave these new opportunists to come out an opportunity to come back and say, well, hey, if you don't want to spend the money and you want to build the building block, we're going to give you the base block. And whether or not you care about the EV or the gas portion of it, it's going to start something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the cool part about it is it's going to bring back that, when was the last time you saw a badass mini truck? I mean, I grew up in that culture.
I think they're coming back, though.
For sure.
They are. Yeah. I mean, you got what freaking Suzuki Samurai right here by Cartoon, right in the lobby, man. That's inspiration. And also shout out to my buddy Keith Sarlos. We do a fun podcast. Listen to it. You're the Beast. He's a winemaker, car guy, you know, just a beautiful human being. But he's like, if you told 16-year-old me, he's my age, I'm 46, he's 47. He's like, if you told 16-year-old me, when you're older, houses will be on average $1 million. A cheeseburger at McDonald's will be $5, and you'll have every bit of music in your computer in your pocket. You're like, what? That's insane.
With your computer.
And you could talk to the world.
Your camera.
You're lying. And now, so all that, we are not scrutinizing. We are not hating. I think it should be celebrated. And this is just purely a conversation of.
It's where we are today.
It's where we are. And that's why I keep saying, make today a good old day. I'm full of adages, and I'm so humbled to be here and to be to have a conversation with you guys, and also just be part of the conversation, because I'm just a genome in this big rock that we're going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We're all astronauts. We're all hemorrhoids. You know what I mean? We're all just on the ass of supposed to laugh.
Flying around our solar system.
But
don't get too close.
And petri dish of emotion. Don't get pink eye. We live in an exciting time, man. Like
it is
cars and space and technology, and don't be afraid of AI. It's why avoid the inevitable. I'm not sitting in the corner and sucking my thumb like, it's like, yo, you got to adapt. Like literally was about to do a video game. I've done like Need for Speed Pro Street. Done some video games, and they're a video game company. It's online. They're like, hey, like, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, how much voiceover? They're like, oh, we don't need any. We already just put it in, like, you've seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, right? Where he's like, I'm going to tell, looking for the gold things. I'll tell you exactly what I could do with a lifetime supply of chocolate in the machine. They put my voice into a machine and it kicks out all the VO. Yeah. Am I replaceable? Potentially. Am I replaceable? No. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not scared of it because you're still getting that tactile thing. And I'm constantly evolving as, here we get AI and all that, the robots, and you push it over, it fights back, whatever, man. We've seen this movie.
Yes.
Will Smith might or might not be in it. I don't know. Keep his name out your mouth. But regardless, we live in an exciting time that we're constantly adapting and developing and being relevant, both as humans and as humans creating said product for other humans.
I agree with that.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean,
Celebrated.
It's interesting to watch that technology loop really play in. Like I said, I don't think and it's what happens with technology. It's evolving so quickly that what used to be a generation of evolution, I look back at like my grandfather who worked on a farm in Oregon, was born in 1903. He saw these things called cars and never thought they would replace a horse. And, we're already through going from internal combustion at its most rudimentary form through carburation, fuel injection, and now hybridization to full electric in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And, within his lifetime, all he saw was one generational gap happen in technology. So, like you said, to embrace it is the only way to move forward. And really, at this point in time, we're just very lucky to be in a place where we can pick and choose. Mm-hmm. And there's still these pockets where you can survive in what's comfortable with what you want to do. But you got to be open to all the stuff going around.
Yeah. The Harley Davidson story, too, you look at that. I mean, because we're talking fours, but you go to two wheels and Harley Davidson, that whole, wait, what? It's a motorbike? Like, what is this? Because that was before the car. Yeah. So seeing that, the horse to 1 horsepower, like, what is that? Like that.
Yeah.
There was because Harley is 115, I think, 115 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was like a cool little mini series that they put out of the story of Harley Davidson. And it's really good. And it touches about like, people like, it's witchcraft, right? And just to see that.
What was that series called? I remember that. It was good, right? The racing and the competition.
The flat track. Yeah. Have you ever been to Harley Davidson Museum?
I have not.
Dude, have you been?
Where is it?
It's in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay. It's beautiful. Really well done. You don't need to be in Harleys, but it shows.
You're going to love it. Yeah.
You're going to love it. And another beautiful museum is the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. It's in Presidio Park. Check that out. The history. Because I'm all about the failures. Yeah. Make mistakes, chalk it up as education. And, the Walt Disney one shows his failures, World War II, this, that, and the other thing, let people go. Harley shows the AMF years, which are dark years, but they made some cool stuff. AMF is making bowling ball returns, but concurrently making motorcycles. Yeah. And the AMF ones are now kind of like, oh, that's that ugly, ugly duckling. I kind of need one of those, And you look at, obviously just the iteration of motorcycles, look at them, Livewire, right? I mean, it started out as a Harley Davidson Livewire, eventually became Livewire. And it raised everybody up. They did Buell, Buell was ahead of its time, putting fuel in the actual frame and all that. Like, dude, crazy. So,
yeah.
Sorry, I can go on for days. I apologize, but I love it. I'm humbled to, it's not just about me, it's about we.
Yeah.
And that's what when I come to talk on podcasts, it goes down a road that you probably didn't anticipate. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for.
But that's
to really shake things up.
That's what I love about it, right? We don't want every podcast to be the same. And we're finding our path in this podcast. It's new for us. And it's our first year doing it. And, but yeah, thanks for coming on the show. That's awesome.
Yeah. And, the biggest thing that we're looking to do here is just talk more and tell more stories. Because as you said before, this industry is full of stories. Every car has an origin story. Every owner has their version of it. Mm-hmm. And it's while digitally out there, that one-to-one you get at those car shows and that community is really the best part of this whole thing. And sitting in these rooms and retelling these stories is really what it's all about.
Yeah.
I love it. And, I got a Steely Dan. So let's go listen to a record on analog, crank a Lucky Strike, and drive our manual car and go get some tacos. Like, that's just, and that's what everybody wants, but in a different way. So let's get a poke bowl, listen to whatever track just came out on Fleek, and let's do our thing. But keep on partying the free world.
So with all the stuff we've covered today, you cover so many bases. Where do people go to kind of find out more about what Jarod DeAnda is doing?
Just primarily my Instagram. I mean, I don't have a ton of followers, but I'd love for you to follow me at Jarod DeAnda, Jarod. I hate my name, by the way. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Jarod. And then even I say DeAnda and I go to these Snap-on things. You're mispronouncing your last name, right? They're like DeAnda because I'm Spanish, Mexican. I'm like, when it comes to Mexican, I'm Taco Bell. I'm a lot of sour cream. Don't know Spanish. But Jarod DeAnda on Instagram and social media and just FD, hear me talking smack. But Voice of SEMA Show, Hot Wheels Legends, working lovingly with Snap-on Tools, what I think is the best tool in the world. Sorry, guys. I've worked with them 10 years and they're a great company. And just, kids parties, bat mitzvahs. I'm making mean balloon snake, whatever you guys got, chocolate fountains, I'd rather be a fountain than a drain. Drains suck. Fountains, they show up, baby. So just that's where we live.
Well, thanks, Jarod. We've got a lot to cover, obviously, in future podcasts, it looks like. But for this episode, obviously, if you want to find out more information about me, you can find me at Rich Waitas. I'm at Oxidizer, OXIDIZR on Instagram.
And I'm Jerry Zaiden. You can find me at Jerry Zaiden on all social platforms. And to watch this on YouTube, check us out at MagnaFlow TV. And everywhere else, it's at MagnaFlow. This has been the MF Show.